Today on Back Porch Chats, we're going to be looking at the book of Proverbs. It's a book of wisdom. To get started in the book of Proverbs, we're going to have a little introduction about the book itself and about the author of the book. We are going to lay this out like an outline. The title is Proverbs. A proverb is a sentence that is given instead of many words. It is a short statement that summarizes a wise principle. The Hebrew word translated proverb means a comparison. As we shall see, many of the Proverbs of Solomon are comparisons and contrasts. These short, catchy sentences were easy to remember, and they condense much wisdom in a small space. The author, we're told that Solomon is the one that wrote most of the book itself. 1 Kings 4:32 informs us that Solomon spoke 3,000 proverbs, and these were undoubtedly recorded in the official records. The theme. The key word is wisdom. We commonly think of wisdom as the ability to use knowledge in the right way, and this is a practical definition. But in the Bible, wisdom means so much more. True wisdom is a matter of the heart and not the mind alone. It is a spiritual matter. There is a wisdom of this world, and there is a divine wisdom. An example of the wisdom of the world would be found in 1 Corinthians 2, 4, and 5, where Paul states, "And my message and my preaching were not in persuasive words of worldly wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power, so that your faith would not rest on the wisdom of men, but on the power of God." And then there is a divine wisdom from above, stated in James 3:13, 17, and 18. "Who among you is wise and understanding? Let him show by his good behavior his deeds in the gentleness of wisdom. But the wisdom from above is first pure, it's then peaceable, it's gentle, it's reasonable, it's full of mercy and good fruits, it's unwavering, and it's without hypocrisy. And the seed whose fruit is righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace." And then Proverbs. In Proverbs, wisdom is actually pictured as a lovely woman who calls people to follow her into a life of blessing and success. Folly is pictured as a wicked woman who tempts the foolish and leads them to hell. Of course, Jesus Christ is the wisdom of God to the believer. First, we look at the fool. Proverbs often mentions three classes of people who desperately need wisdom: the fool, the simple, and the scorner. The fool is a person who is dense, sluggish, careless, and self-satisfied. Nabal in 1 Samuel 25 is a good example. The name Nabal means fool. The fool hates instruction and is self-confident. He talks without thinking and mocks at sin. The simple are those who believe everything and everybody and lack discernment. They are easily led astray by others because they lack understanding. They cannot see ahead, and as a result repeatedly walk into trouble. The scorners mock at God's wisdom because it is too high for them, but they will not admit it because they know everything. The Hebrew word scorner literally means to make a mouth, and we can easily picture them sneering and curling up their lips in scorn. They never profit from rebuke, and as a result, they will one day be judged. The wise man or woman. Proverbs outlines for us the character of the wise. Number 1, the wise listen to instruction. Number 2, the wise obey what they hear. And number 3, the wise store up what they learn. Number 4, they win others to the Lord. And number 5, they flee from sin. They watch their tongue, and they are diligent in their daily work. These things come from Warren Wiersbe's expository outlines. He tells us all these good things. Now, what's the value? Proverbs is valuable to us as a guideline for practical wisdom in everyday life. It teaches us about such things as the tongue. money matters, friendship, the home, business contracts, it would be well for believers, especially young people, to read one chapter of Proverbs a day, and thus read the entire book through each month. The New Testament quotes Proverbs many different places. It quotes it in Romans 3:15. It quotes Proverbs 1:16, in Hebrews 12:5 and 6, and Revelation 3:19. It quotes Proverbs 11 and 12. James 4:6 and 1 Peter 5:5 quote Proverbs 3:34. Romans 12:20 quotes Proverbs 25:21 and 22. 2 Peter 2:22 quotes Proverbs 6:11. And the interpretation. Proverbs are generalizations about life and not promises for us to claim. Although there are good promises found in the book of Proverbs, the basic requirement for understanding and applying these proverbs is 1. To fear the Lord, and 2. Have a willingness to obey. The aim of the book is to give the godly person skill in human relationships and endeavors. This begins with submission to the Lord. It is dangerous to lay hold of one or two statements in Proverbs, but ignore the total message of the book. Also, though we can find examples of exceptions to some of the Proverbs, this does not minimize the lesson they contain. Not all godly people live long lives. Not all godly people become wealthy. But generally speaking, those who obey God do not ruin their bodies or waste their substance. The book of Proverbs summons us to understand and apply all of God's revealed wisdom for all of life. So this brings us to an end of part 1. Tomorrow or the next time, we'll do part 2, where we will begin to read chapters from 1 to 3.